Okay, so I'm sure you can find all this information somewhere else on the internet, to be honest with you. But I'm just going to share with you what I have learned about TIG welding right now in the past few hours of just having a go. I have definitely learned that getting an F-clamp and getting the torch hose above you makes the torch lighter and to hold and easier to handle. You can always also throw it over your shoulder, but I find it just sort of flops off my shoulder. So I found that really useful. The earth clamp. Um, if you're welding, so let's say you're welding like here, and the earth is just here. The arc, obviously wants to find earth, and that is directly an awesome earth, whereas the arc has got to go through some other bits of workpiece steel to get to ground normally. So it really, if you're that close, it just wants to go to the arc. So the arc just wants to wander off to the direction of the earth. So that's something to think about. Try not to clamp right next to your workpiece. Whereas I thought, the better the earth, the better the weld. I thought it had a positive impact on the weld, and it does up to a point. Next thing is obviously the longer that you are heating a piece of metal, the more impurities you're going to introduce, etc., etc. So to move quickly is better, really. But if you're welding something as difficult as this really thin body panel, which you can see I've blown a load of holes in, trying to put together. So I'm now an expert at fucking fixing the holes. I'm not, but better than when I started. So if you run the amps down to the point where you just hold it in the same place for a couple of seconds, and you can only just generate a weld pool. Basically use that plus a couple of amps. That's what seems to have worked for me. So I'm kicking around the 26 amps mark, and that seems to get me to generate a pool fairly quickly, and then I can begin to move with it. If I go down to 24 amps, I can only just generate the weld pool. And what it does is it really slows down all of the movements, because you're really trying to get the weld pool to move along and come under the torch as you almost drag it with you along where you're trying to weld. Also, I found being a little bit more sparse with the dabs helps with that, because I found that slowing it all down when I'm dabbing in the filler, because it's only just getting the weld pool, I'm cooling the pool too much, and that's causing me trouble. So I could obviously run a bit hotter and move quicker, but then I'd just end up kind of, if I'm all clumsy with the movement, I'm blowing a hole in there, or like pause for just a bit too long, then I end up blowing a hole in the steel. So that's a couple of tips. What else? I actually found it really helpful to, instead of doing like a 45-degree angle on the tungsten, to do like a really long, sharp tungsten. Just for this, like for other stuff, it doesn't seem to make much. It doesn't seem to be helpful, but it focuses the arc a lot. So you're just welding exactly where you need to be. Whereas when I had it kind of a short point, I found that it was heat soaking the area around where I wanted the pool, which made it more likely to kind of blow through. Whereas at least with the focused arc, I had a pool just where I wanted it, and there was no heat soaking elsewhere. So it was only going where I moved the weld pool to. Whereas when I heat soaked the area around, if the weld pool was there, as I moved on, the bit in front was so heat soaked it would suddenly just melt through. So I don't know if I'm explaining it that well, but it's definitely helpful stuff. But go and watch somebody better than me on YouTube. It's just my 2 cents. Yeah, that's it.